Stop, right now. That email, that comment, that sudden problem, it hijacks you. Your heart pounds, your vision tunnels, and you react. You snap, you shut down. You become a puppet on the strings of your own untrained nervous system. This ends now. This book is your mental circuit breaker. A 60-second protocol to sever the wire between trigger and reaction. To move you from being reactive, a victim of your circumstances, to being responsive, the architect of your life. Listen closely. Your freedom is 60 seconds away. Welcome. You're here because something is broken. You feel it. The aftermath. The wreckage left in the wake of your own reactions. A relationship strained. An opportunity lost. A moment of peace shattered by a surge of anger, of anxiety, of a feeling so powerful it felt like truth. It wasn't. This entire book rests on one non-negotiable premise. Your emotional default is a lie. And until you see that lie for what it is, you will remain its prisoner. Let's begin. The illusion of authenticity. We've been sold a dangerous idea. The cult of authenticity. Be your true self. Speak your truth. Follow your heart. It sounds empowering, but it's a trap. Because what if your true self is a reactive, undisciplined mess? What if your heart is a liar? Your so-called authentic emotions, that flash of rage in traffic, that sinking feeling of insecurity when you're criticized, the jealous knot in your stomach, they aren't sacred truths. They are conditioned programs, software installed by your past, your upbringing, your fears. They are relics. Think about road rage. Someone cuts you off. Instantly your heart hammers. Your jaw clenches. A surge of white-hot anger floods your system. You lean on the horn. You scream words you'd never say in an office. Now ask yourself, is that anger a necessary, truthful response to the situation? Or is it a primitive, programmed circuit firing? A leftover survival instinct from a time when a threat meant a predator, not a poor lane change. That feeling isn't a reality you must obey. Your reaction is a relic, not a reality. It's an old, dusty recording playing for the 10,000th time. You think you're being authentic, but you're just being predictable. You're a puppet, and your triggers are pulling the strings. That flash of temper isn't your core self. It's the ghost of every time you felt powerless in the past. It's a conditioned response, not a conscious choice. Your reaction is a relic, not a reality. And you are not a museum curator. Your job isn't to preserve these relics. Your job is to see them for what they are, and to choose something else. The high costs of reactivity. Now let's talk about the price tag. This isn't abstract. This isn't spiritual theory. This is about the concrete, tangible losses you suffer every single time you obey the lie. You get a frustrating email from a client. Your programmed response, the authentic one, is indignation. Ego. You fire back a furious, well actually message, putting them in their place. You feel a momentary thrill of victory, and then silence. A week later, you find out they've taken their business elsewhere. That's not a coincidence. That's a consequence. Reactivity costs you money, respect, and love. You come home from a long, draining day. Your partner makes an innocent comment about forgetting to take out the trash. Your programmed response is irritation. Exhaustion masquerading as anger. You snap. A petty argument erupts. The evening is ruined. Trust and intimacy are subtly eroded. You didn't just snap about trash. You sacrificed connection on the altar of your momentary impulse. Reactivity costs you money, respect, and love. Every time you react without thinking, you are spending a currency more valuable than cash. You are spending your credibility. You are spending the trust others have in you. You are spending the peace in your own home. You are sabotaging your own future for the fleeting satisfaction of the present moment. Add it up. The promotion you didn't get because you couldn't handle feedback. The relationship that slowly died from 1,000 tiny cuts. The self-respect you lose every time you feel ashamed of your own behavior. This is the bill coming due. Reactivity costs you money, respect, and love. And you are the one paying it. The 60-second gap. So, if our default is a lie, and reacting to it is costly, what's the alternative? The alternative is a space, a gap. Between every trigger and your reaction, there is a gap. It might be microscopic, a millisecond. Right now it feels non-existent. The trigger is the reaction. They feel like the same thing. But I am telling you, the gap is there. And that gap is your field of power. That gap is where your freedom is born. The entire mission of your life from this moment forward is to find that gap, to own it, and to expand it. Find the gap, own the gap, expand the gap. Right now, your gap is a crack in the sidewalk. We are going to turn it into a sprawling open field. We are going to widen it from a millisecond to a full minute. A 60-second gap. Imagine that. Someone cuts you off, and instead of your foot slamming the horn, you take a breath. You feel the anger, but you don't obey it. You let the trigger happen, and you step into the gap. 1 second, 5 seconds. You observe the feeling. You label it. Ah, there's the old road rage program. Interesting. 10 seconds. Your heart rate begins to slow. 20 seconds. You realize you're not actually in danger. 30 seconds. You make a conscious choice. Maybe you change lanes. Maybe you even laugh. At the 60-second mark, you have not reacted. You have responded. And in that response is your power. Find the gap, own the gap, expand the gap. This is not passive. It is the most active, aggressive discipline you will ever undertake. It's the practice of noticing the software trying to run and hitting cancel. It's the practice of feeling the urge to send that email and instead standing up and walking away from your computer for 1 minute. Just 1 minute. In that gap, you are no longer a relic. You are a creator. You are writing a new reality. Your emotional default is a lie you've been telling yourself for years. But the truth is waiting for you in the silence between the trigger and the explosion. It's in the gap. Your job is to find it, to own it, and to expand it. You've located the gap. Now, you need the tool to defend it from your own noisy mind. Listen up. Right now, you're doing it. You're probably sitting or lying down, listening to my voice, and you're completely unaware of the silent, constant conversation happening inside you.
Your body is talking to you.
It's screaming, and you? You've been trained to ignore it, to power through, to drown it out with coffee, with distractions, with sheer brute force will. That ends now. Your emotions are not just ghosts in the machine. They are not abstract philosophical concepts. They are physical events. They have a weight, a texture, a temperature. And if you want to stop being a passenger in your own life, if you want to stop being hijacked by every passing feeling, you need to learn this one non-negotiable truth. The body is the battlefield. Every single internal war, fear, anger, anxiety, insecurity, is fought first in your flesh and blood, not in your thoughts. Your mind is just the commentator, narrating the carnage after the battle has already begun in your body. You have a choice. You can continue to be a victim of this biology, or you can become its master. This chapter is your basic training. We are going to weaponize your awareness. We are going to turn your body from the problem into your most powerful ally. Symptom spotting. So let's start with the most critical skill you aren't using. I call it symptom spotting. It's not complicated. It's a ruthless, rapid inventory of your own physical state. You're not trying to understand the emotion yet. You're not trying to analyze it. You are a detective collecting evidence. Cold, hard, physical evidence. I want you to think about the last time you felt a surge of anxiety before a big meeting. Or the flash of anger when someone cut you off in traffic. Where was it? Don't tell me you felt angry. That's a label. That's the story your mind is telling. I want the coordinates. Was it a tightness in your chest? A clenching in your jaw so hard you could crack a tooth? Did your face get hot? Your hands get cold? That knot in your stomach before a difficult conversation? That's not a metaphor. It is a literal physical contraction. It is a signal. Your body is mobilizing for a threat. It's dumping cortisol and adrenaline into your system, preparing you to fight, flee, or freeze. And what do most people do? They ignore the knot. They try to think their way out of it. They get lost in a mental loop of what-ifs and catastrophic predictions. That's the key. You're trying to solve a physical problem with a distracted mind. It will never work. It's like trying to put out a fire by reading a poem about water. You have a choice. You can stay in your head, spinning in circles, or you can drop your awareness into the physical reality of the sensation. So, from this moment on, I want you to do this. The moment you feel an emotional shift, any shift, I want you to pause for 5 seconds and scan. Scan the body. Shoulders, tense or relaxed. Jaw, clenched or soft. Stomach, in knots or calm. Breath, shallow and high in the chest, or deep and low in the belly. This isn't meditation. This is reconnaissance. You are gathering intelligence on the enemy. That's the first part of the protocol. Scan it, don't surrender to it. Interrupt the signal. Okay, you've spotted the symptom. You've found the tension, the heat, the knot. Now you don't just sit with it. You don't accept it. You attack it. Not with thought, but with a counter-signal. You interrupt the body's panic message before it reaches your brain and sends you into a tailspin. This is the second part of the protocol, and it takes 60 seconds or less. It's a physiological hack. You're going to use a breath pattern called the physiological sigh. Here's how it works. It's simple, but it is brutally effective. Take a double inhale through your nose. Inhale fully, and then, without exhaling, take one more sharp, short sip of air to maximally inflate your lungs. Then, follow it with a long, slow, controlled exhale through your mouth. Let all the air drain out. Empty your lungs completely. Do that right now. Just once. Pause. Feel that? The immediate shift? That double inhale pops open the tiny air sacs in your lungs, the alveoli, that collapse when you're stressed and breathing shallowly. The long exhale stimulates your vagus nerve, which is the main nerve responsible for telling your body to calm down. It immediately lowers your heart rate and drops your blood pressure. It is a biochemical circuit breaker. You are not your heart pounding in your chest. You are the one who can take a breath and slow it down. You are not the tension in your shoulders. You are the breath that can create space and release it. This is the ultimate act of agency. The body leads the mind. Change the body. Change the mind. You don't need to wait for the feeling to pass. You don't need to wait for permission to be calm. You force the change from the body up. You don't need their permission. You take control of your own internal state with a breath. Do this the moment you finish a body scan. Symptom, sigh. Interrupt the signal. That's the key. Anchor to the physical you've scanned. You've sighed. You've interrupted the panic cycle. Now for the final anchoring move. Your mind, now starved of the intense physical signal it was feeding on, will try to pull you back into the story. It will try to re-trigger you with thoughts. But what about that email? You still have to have that conversation. This is where most people fail. They do one breath and then go right back to worrying. Your job is to not go back. Your job is to stay in the physical world. You need to get out of your head and into your senses. This is the third part of the protocol. You anchor yourself in tangible, undeniable reality. How? Feel your feet flat on the floor. Press down. Notice the weight of your body in the chair, the texture of your socks, the solid, unshakable ground beneath you. Grip your fingers and thumbs together. Feel the pressure, the skin-on-skin contact, the reality of your own hands. Name 5 things you can see in the room around you. Not in a mystical way, in a factual, direct way. I see a gray wall. I see a black monitor. I see a coffee cup with a chip on the handle. Listen to the ambient sounds. The hum of the computer, the distant traffic, the sound of my voice. You are pulling your consciousness out of the abstract, terrifying world of your thoughts and into the simple, manageable, physical present moment. Get out of your head and into your senses. This isn't about avoiding the problem. This is about changing the channel from the panic network to the perception network. You are proving to yourself, through direct experience, that you are here, you are solid, and you are in control. The emotion is just a weather pattern passing through the physical landscape of your body. It doesn't own the landscape. This is your new first response. It's not a theory. It's a drill, scan, sigh, anchor. You practice this now when the stakes are low, so it becomes an unthinking reflex when the stakes are high. Before the confrontation, before the presentation, before the difficult decision, the body leads the mind. Change the body, change the mind. You have just taken the first, most concrete step toward real self-mastery. You've learned to reclaim the battlefield of your own flesh and blood. But controlling your internal state is only half the battle. The other half is about controlling what you project to the world. Because your presence is your most powerful weapon. You've mastered the internal battlefield. Now let's talk about the external frame you present to the world. You're in a meeting. Your manager glances over your report and says, "We'll need to revisit this later." That's it. No explosion, no drama. Just 7 words, and instantly a storm hits you. It's a hot rush. Your jaw clenches. Your heart hammers against your ribs. For the rest of the day, you're off. Snappy with colleagues. Distant with your family. That one comment, that tiny spark, lit a fire you can't seem to put out. You tell yourself you're just angry, or maybe stressed, or having a bad day. Stop lying to yourself. That vague label, anger, stress, a bad day, is a cop-out. It's a blanket you throw over a messy, complicated truth. And under that blanket, the fire keeps burning. You are being owned by a feeling you refuse to understand. That ends now. Your next discipline is to move from the vague storm to the specific emotion. You must name the game to tame the flame. Let's go back to that meeting. Your manager says, "We'll need to revisit this later." You feel the heat and call it anger. But anger is almost never the root. It's the bodyguard. It's the loud, obnoxious distraction hiding what's really going on backstage. So, what's really there? Get specific. Is it the sting of feeling disrespected? The story you're telling yourself is that your hard work was just dismissed without a second thought. Is it a sharp spike of humiliation? The story is that everyone in that room now thinks you're incompetent. Or is it the cold grip of fear? Not just any fear. The specific, gut-wrenching fear of being exposed as inadequate, of not being good enough for this job, of finally being found out. See the difference? Anger is a fog. Fear of being exposed as inadequate is a target. You can't fight fog. You can hit a target. This is the first move. This is where you take back control. You have a choice. You can swim in the vague, chaotic storm, or you can pinpoint the exact coordinates of the enemy. That's the key. Precision. This isn't just motivational fluff. This is biological warfare. It's happening in your brain, right now. When you feel that threatening rush, your amygdala, your brain's ancient alarm siren, goes off. It floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline. It screams danger and shuts down your higher reasoning. You are in fight, flight, or freeze. You are emotionally hijacked. But when you stop and force your brain to find a precise, complex word for that feeling, like disrespected, or humiliated, or fear of exposure, you do something profound. You activate a different part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex. The CEO, the region responsible for language, reasoning, and executive control. By engaging the CEO, you send a direct signal to the amygdala. Stand down. I'm handling this. Neuroscience shows that the simple act of precise labeling, what they call effect labeling, reduces the intensity of the emotion in the amygdala. It literally calms your brain down. Let me be perfectly clear. What you can name, you cannot be owned by. A vague feeling owns you. A named emotion is a problem to be solved. A vague feeling is a prison. A named emotion has a door, and you hold the key. What you can name, you cannot be owned by. This is the discipline. This is how you install a manual override on your emotional hijackings, knowing this is useless without doing it. So we drill, right now. This is not a theory. This is your new behavioral protocol. I want you to practice this sentence. Say it out loud. Say it until it becomes your automatic response to any emotional spike. Here it is. I feel specific, nuanced emotion because I am telling myself the story that your interpretation. This formula is your scalpel. It separates the objective fact from the subjective fiction you're creating in your head. Let's go back to our scenario. The fact. Your manager said, "We'll need to revisit this later." Your feeling, the hot rush. The old way. I'm so angry. This leads to brooding, snapping, suffering, the new discipline. You pause. You breathe. You name it. I feel humiliated because I am telling myself the story that everyone now thinks I'm a fraud, or I feel a fear of inadequacy because I am telling myself the story that I'm not cut out for this promotion, or I feel disrespected because I am telling myself the story that my time and effort are being dismissed. Do you see the power in that? You are no longer a victim of the feeling. You are the observer of the story creating the feeling. The emotion is no longer a mysterious force. It's a logical consequence of a narrative. And narratives can be challenged. Narratives can be changed. You don't need their permission to do this. You don't need to wait for your manager to apologize. You don't need the world to be less triggering. You do this for you. This is internal work. This is where your power is. So the next time that flame ignites, in a traffic jam, in a tough conversation, when you look at your bank account, do not default to the vague. Do not say I'm stressed. That's weak. That's passive. Your mission is to name it. To drill down with ruthless honesty. I feel what exactly? And what is the story I'm selling myself right now? What you can name, you cannot be owned by. Make that your mantra. It's not about eliminating emotion. It's about disarming it. It's about taking the explosive charge out of the feeling so you can respond from a place of choice, not chaos. You have just learned to identify the enemy within with sniper-like precision. But naming the flame is only half the battle. Once you see it clearly, you must learn to stop feeding it with your own words. You've mastered the internal diagnosis. Now you must learn the discipline of external command. You're waiting for a text back. An hour goes by. Then 2. Then 5. And in that silence, your brain gets to work. It doesn't just see no message. It writes a novel. It directs a full-blown horror movie starring you. They're ignoring me. I said the wrong thing. They're angry. They're with someone else right now, laughing about me. The relationship is over. You are alone. Catastrophe. Now, snap out of it. Think, what is the actual, factual, evidence-based reality? Their phone died. They're in a meeting. They're taking a nap. They saw the text, got distracted and forgot. These are boring, neutral, overwhelmingly likely explanations. But you didn't pick the boring story, did you? You went straight for the catastrophe. You chose the story that hurts. Let's get one thing brutally clear. Your brain is a catastrophe machine. It's not your fault, it's evolutionary. For millions of years, assuming a rustle in the grass was a tiger and not the wind kept you alive. But that machinery is now broken. It's misfiring. It's taking a delayed text and treating it like a predator in the tall grass. It's taking a slightly critical comment from your boss and writing your professional obituary. This chapter is about performing emergency surgery on that broken machine. You have a choice. You can let the catastrophe narrative run your life, or you can grab the controls and rewrite it. In real time, pause for emphasis. The first step is to catch the story as it's being written. You feel that tightening in your chest? That heat in your face? That's the signal. That's the alarm bell. That's the moment you have a choice. You can either surrender to the narrative or you can take it to court. I want you to become a prosecutor. Not against the other person, but against the story itself. Your own negative story is the defendant, and it's guilty until proven innocent. You are going to cross-examine it with brutal, surgical precision. Here's the drill. The moment you feel that spiral starting, you stop. You pause, and you ask 3 questions. First question, what is the actual admissible evidence for this story? Your brain says, my partner is going to leave me. Okay, what's the evidence? A delayed text? A slightly cold tone last night? That's not evidence of a breakup. That's evidence of a busy day or a minor mood. The court throws it out. The judge is not impressed. Demand hard proof. You'll find there almost never is any. Second question, what is a more likely, neutral, or even benevolent explanation? The catastrophe machine only writes one genre, tragedy. Your job is to pitch it a new script. Maybe they're stressed about work. Maybe the feedback from my boss isn't a personal attack, but an investment in my growth. Maybe this difficult feeling isn't a sign I'm on the wrong path, but a sign I'm on the right one and it's challenging. You must actively generate these alternatives. This isn't about positive thinking. This is about accurate thinking. The catastrophic story is almost always the least accurate one. Third and final question. What is this story costing me? What action is it driving me to take? Are you about to send a desperate, needy text because of the story? Are you about to shut down in a meeting because of the story? Are you about to quit something important because of the story? Identify the cost. See the direct line between the narrative in your head and the self-sabotaging action you're about to take. This is the discipline of the courtroom. This is you taking the stand. You are not a passive victim of your thoughts. You are the prosecutor, the judge, and the jury. The story you tell is the storm you endure. If you tell yourself a story of betrayal, you will feel betrayed. If you tell yourself a story of failure, you will feel like a failure. You have a choice, always. Shift tone from analytical to commanding. But killing the bad story is only half the battle. Nature abhors a vacuum, and so does your mind. If you tear down the catastrophic narrative and leave an empty lot, the weeds will just grow back. You must install a new one, an empowering one. You must consciously choose the story that serves you. This is the ultimate act of power. You don't need their permission to change the story. You don't need the outside world to change first. You change the narrative, and your entire experience of the world changes with it. Let's take the example of your boss giving you critical feedback. The catastrophic story. My boss is criticizing me. He sees my flaws. He thinks I'm incompetent. I'm going to get fired. Now let's rewrite it. We're not going to write a fantasy. We're going to write a story that is just as plausible, but far more powerful. The empowering narrative. My boss is investing in me. He is giving me direct, actionable feedback because he believes I can handle it and improve. This isn't a threat to my position. It's the training required to advance. He's not attacking me. He's equipping me. Do you feel the difference? The facts are the same. The feedback is the same. But the world is different. One story makes you weak, defensive, and fearful. The other makes you strong, receptive, and capable. You have a choice. Which world do you want to live in? This is your new daily practice. Catch the catastrophe. Take it to court. Execute it for lack of evidence. Then, immediately, install the masterpiece. Write the story that makes you stronger, calmer, and more effective. If you can write the nightmare, you can write the masterpiece. The same mental machinery that conjures demons can summon angels. That's the key. It's all fabrication. So why not fabricate something that gives you power instead of something that leaves you paralyzed? You are the author. Stop writing tragedies and start writing manuals for unstoppable success. You've taken control of the narratives that ruled you. But there's another force just as corrosive that we must master. It's the noise we create, not in our minds, but with our mouths. It's time to reclaim your power through a discipline of intentional silence. Enough theory, enough concepts. It's time for the drill. This chapter is where your new life begins. Not in a month, not next week, today, right now. Because you are going to learn the one skill that changes everything. You're going to learn how to take back control of your mind in 60 seconds or less. I call it the 60-second command protocol. This is not a meditation. This is not a vague intention. This is a tactical step-by-step drill. It's the physical manifestation of everything we've covered. The moment you feel that spike of fear, that flush of anger, that cold wave of anxiety, that is the trigger. And from this moment forward, your response is not to spiral. Your response is to execute. For the next 60 seconds, your only job is to run this protocol. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you do. You have a choice. And this protocol is how you make it. Let's break it down. The entire sequence takes 60 seconds. 1 minute to go from reactive animal to commanding officer of your own life. It's divided into 3 clear, non-negotiable phases. DERA 15 seconds, the physiological sigh and grounding. The instant you feel the trigger, the rude email, the critical comment, the sudden crisis, you start here. You do not engage. You do not type a response. You do not open your mouth. You execute phase 1. You take a deep double inhale through your nose, filling your lungs completely, followed by a long, slow, controlled exhale through your mouth. That's the physiological sigh. You do this 2, maybe 3 times. This is not breathing for relaxation. This is a biological intervention. You are manually resetting your nervous system. You are flooding your brain with oxygen and forcing your heart rate down. While you do this, you anchor yourself in the physical world. Feel your feet flat on the floor. Grip the edge of the desk. See the details of the room around you. This is the emergency brake. You are stopping the chemical dump in its tracks. You are creating a space between the trigger and your reaction. That space is where your power lives. That's the key. 15 to 40 seconds. Name the specific emotion and story. With your body under preliminary control, you now engage your cortex. You drag the emotion out of the shadows and into the light. You do this with brutal surgical precision. You do not say, "I'm upset." That's weak. That's vague. You name it. This is rage. This is humiliation. This is panic. Say it to yourself, internally, with clarity. Then, you identify the story you're telling yourself. The narrative that's fueling the emotion. The story I'm telling myself is that my boss disrespected me and thinks I'm incompetent. The story I'm telling myself is that my partner betrayed me and I am unlovable. The story I'm telling myself is that this traffic jam will ruin everything and I am losing control. Name the emotion. Name the story. This act of precise labeling robs the feeling of its power. It transforms an overwhelming, mysterious force into a simple, observable object. An object you can now handle. You don't need the emotion's permission to do this. You just do it. 60 seconds. Choose and install the new story. You have 20 seconds left. The old story is sitting there identified. Now you replace it. You do not wait to feel better. You command a new reality. You consciously, deliberately choose a new story that serves your mission, not your mood. This is the ultimate application of discipline. It's not about feeling confident. It's about installing the story of a confident person. So you overwrite the code. My boss's criticism is a data point, not a definition of my worth. My mission is to process this feedback and improve. My partner's action is about their character, not my value. My mission is to respond from a place of strength, not victimhood. This traffic jam is an obstacle. My mission is to solve the problem, not rage against it. You state this new story to yourself with the same authority you used to name the old one. You are the author. Act like it. That's the full walkthrough. 0 to 60. From triggered to in command. Now let's see it in the real world. The power of this protocol isn't in understanding it. It's in its rigid application across any situation you face. Remember this, because it's the core of your new operating system. The protocol is the constant. The situation is the variable. Let's run 3 scenarios. Scenario 1, professional criticism. Your manager sends a blunt, public email pointing out a flaw in your report, 0s, 15s. You read it. The heat rises to your face. You close your eyes. Double inhale, long exhale. Feel the chair beneath you, 1540s. This is humiliation. The story I'm telling myself is that I've been exposed as a fraud and everyone is laughing at me, 4060s. This is feedback on a document, not on my soul. My mission is to be impeccable with my work. I will correct the error and respond professionally. The protocol is the constant. The situation is the variable. Scenario 2. Personal betrayal. A close friend reveals a secret you entrusted to them, 0 to 15s. You hear the words. Your stomach drops. You excuse yourself to the bathroom. Double inhale, long exhale. Look at yourself in the mirror, 15 to 40s. This is fury and hurt. The story I'm telling myself is that I cannot trust anyone, and I am a fool for being vulnerable, 4060s. Their actions define their character, not my worth. My mission is to protect my peace. I will address this with calm power, or I will remove them from my inner circle without drama. The protocol is the constant. The situation is the variable. Scenario 3. Logistical crisis. You're about to walk into a crucial meeting and your car won't start. 0, 15s. You turn the key. Nothing. A wave of panic. Double inhale. Long exhale. Feel the steering wheel in your hands. 1540s. This is panic. The story I'm telling myself is that my entire career is collapsing because of this one random event. 4060s. This is a problem to be solved, not a catastrophe. My mission is to find a solution. I will call a ride, inform the attendees I'll be late, and handle this with competence. Do you see it? The same 60-second sequence, applied to 3 completely different emotional hurricanes. The structure remains. The steps are identical. You are not trying to invent a new solution for every new problem. You are applying the one solution you have mastered to every problem that arises. That's the key. But you will not master this in the moment of crisis. You master it now, in the quiet. So your final instruction is this. You will go out and practice under pressure. You will deliberately trigger yourself in low-stakes environments to build this muscle memory. Choose the long line at the coffee shop. Feel the impatience rise? Run the protocol. Your internet is slow. Run the protocol. Someone cuts you off in traffic? Run the protocol. This is not about the coffee or the web page or the other driver. This is about you. This is about forging a new neural pathway so deep that when the real war comes, the business failure, the personal loss, the real fear, you don't have to think. You just execute. Drill in peace to perform in war. Make this protocol as automatic as brushing your teeth. Do it 10 times a day, 20. It takes 1 minute. You have no excuse. This is the discipline. This is the practice of command. You have just been given the single most practical tool of your life. A 60-second bridge from chaos to control. The question is no longer if you can handle your emotions. The question is, will you practice the protocol? The choice is yours. You've mastered the internal battle. Now it's time to master your external world. It's time to talk about the one resource you can never get back. Let's get straight to it. You're in an argument. Maybe it's with your partner over something stupid, like who forgot to take out the trash. Maybe it's with a colleague in a meeting A battle of wits over a project plan. Your heart is pounding. Your face is getting hot. Every fiber of your being is screaming at you to deploy the perfect, devastating fact that will obliterate their position. To prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are right. And in that moment, you have a choice. A single defining choice that separates the reactive from the responsive. The emotional child from the disciplined adult. Do you want to win the argument? Or do you want to win the war? This chapter is about that choice. This is where we expose the single greatest obstacle to your emotional freedom. The desperate, pathetic need to prove yourself. Grappa 230. The ego's agenda. Your ego is not your amigo. Let's be crystal clear about that. Your ego is a primitive security system that thinks it's helping. Its entire agenda is to protect your self-image at all costs. It wants to be seen as smart, right, competent, and morally superior. It would rather burn the entire village to the ground than admit it might have started the fire. Think about the last time you got into a stupid circular fight. What was it really about? The topic? No. It was about your ego feeling threatened. It was about you needing to prove that you're not the kind of person who forgets the trash. That you're not the kind of employee with a flawed plan. That you're a good person, so you fight. You marshal your evidence. You cross-examine. You deploy sarcasm. You might even dig up past unrelated grievances to strengthen your case. And let's say you win. You deliver the killer line. The other person shuts down. They have no comeback. Congratulations. You proved your point. You won the battle of wits. But what did you lose? You lost the warmth in your partner's eyes for the rest of the night. You lost the trust and collaboration of your colleague. You created resentment. You fortified a wall between you and another human being. You won the argument, but poisoned the relationship. That's not a win. That's a catastrophic failure of strategy. That's your ego hijacking your life, and you letting it drive straight off a cliff. You have a choice. You can listen to the ego, or you can listen to your higher self. You don't need their permission to be right. You don't need to prove your worth through verbal combat. It's not about being right. It's about being effective. It's not about winning the point. It's about protecting the connection. That's the key. 230, 530. Shift to a growth mindset. So if proving yourself is a dead end, what's the alternative? The alternative is to shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. A fixed mindset believes that your qualities are carved in stone. Every challenge is a test you must pass to prove you're smart. Every criticism is a personal attack you must defend against. A growth mindset sees the world as a training ground. It sees every single interaction, especially the difficult ones, not as a threat, but as data. Pure, uncut, valuable data about yourself. When you feel that trigger, that surge of heat, that defensive clenching in your gut, that's not your cue to fight. That's your cue to get curious. That's the signal. That's the data point. The question in that moment is not, how can I show this idiot they're wrong? The question is, what is this reaction trying to teach me about my triggers? Where is my weak spot? Why does this specific comment from this specific person set you off? What unresolved insecurity is it poking? Is it a fear of being seen as incompetent? A fear of being controlled? A fear of being unlovable? Your triggers are a map to your wounds. Your emotional reactions are flashing arrows pointing directly at the parts of you that still need healing. Stop trying to silence the arrows by shooting the messenger. Read the map. This is the fundamental pivot. This is where you take your power back. Because when you get curious, you can't be furious. When you are investigating your own reaction, you are no longer at the mercy of it. So I'll ask you again, and I want you to ask yourself this every single time you feel that defensive surge. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be free? Do you want the hollow, temporary victory of proving a point, or do you want the lasting power of self-mastery?
Do you want to be a prisoner to every passing comment, or do you want the freedom to choose your response?
Do you want to be right, or do you want to be free? That's the key. That's the only question that matters. 745. The improvement. Question: knowing you have a choice isn't enough. You need a tool, a specific actionable weapon you can deploy in the heat of the moment to execute that choice. This is the discipline of reprogramming your default setting. I'm going to give you that weapon. It's a single question. It's the question that will replace the frantic, ego-driven chatter in your head. It's the circuit breaker for your reactive mind. Memorize it. Write it on a note card. Put it on your phone's lock screen. The question is this: regardless of who is right, what is the most powerful and effective response here that moves me toward my goals? Let's break that down, because every word is intentional. Regardless of who is right. This immediately depowers the ego. It takes the entire concept of right and wrong and shoves it off the table. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. What is the most powerful and effective response? This shifts your focus from blame to agency. Power isn't about loudness, it's about control. Effectiveness isn't about winning, it's about getting a desired outcome. You are now thinking like a strategist, not a soldier. That moves me toward my goals? This is the clincher. It anchors your behavior to your long-term vision. What are your goals? A stronger, more intimate relationship? A more collaborative and successful work environment? Inner peace? Now let's apply it to our earlier example. Your partner snaps at you about the trash. The old you. Oh, I forgot? What about the 3 times you forgot last week? And you didn't even pay the credit card bill. This is ridiculous. Ego, proving, scoring points, deflecting. The new you, using the tool. Internal pause, deep breath. Ask the question. Regardless of who is right, what is the most powerful and effective response here that moves me toward my goal of a peaceful, loving home? The answer is almost never a counterattack. The answer might be, "You're right, I forgot. My bad, I'll get it now. Is everything okay? You seem stressed." That's power. That's effectiveness. You've just diffused a bomb, collected data about your partner's state of mind, and reinforced your goal of connection. You've chosen to improve the situation, not prove your point. This isn't about being a doormat. This is about being a master. A master doesn't engage in every petty skirmish. A master chooses the battlefield. You don't need their permission to take the high road. You don't need to win their approval by defeating them. The goal is not to prove you are a good person. The goal is to be a person of character, discipline, and power, and that character is built one conscious, improved response at a time. Bucket 45, 8 ounce or sagt. Conclusion, you've just learned how to disarm the ego's most dangerous weapon, the need to prove. You've learned to see triggers as data, and you've been given the ultimate question to transform reactivity into strategic power. Remember, you have a choice. You can be a slave to the need to be right, or you can be the master of your own growth. Choose improvement. Every single time, you've mastered the internal shift from proving to improving. But this discipline isn't just about managing your reactions. It's about controlling what you put out into the world. And nothing leaks power and creates more drama than an undisciplined tongue. Next, we learn to weaponize silence. Let's talk about your paycheck, not the one that hits your bank account. The other one, the emotional paycheck. The one you get when someone likes your post, when they compliment your idea, when they approve of your choice, when they validate you. You're addicted to that paycheck, and you've handed over your entire emotional well-being to a world that doesn't care about your balance. This is the silent cost. This is the tax you pay every time you outsource your self-worth. You have made yourself a beggar in the kingdom of your own life, holding out a cup and hoping someone, anyone, will drop a coin of approval into it. And I'm here to tell you, that ends now. This chapter is about reclaiming your emotional treasury. It's about realizing that the most important validation is the one you give yourself. We live in a feedback loop, a constant 24/7 auction of attention. And you've put your sense of self on the auction block. You post a picture and you wait. You offer an opinion and you brace. You make a decision and your first instinct is to see who agrees with it. This is the external locus of control. You have handed the remote control for your emotional state to strangers, to colleagues, to critics, to algorithms. And you are permanently, hopelessly reactive. When the likes roll in, you're up. When the criticism comes, you're down. You are a puppet, and the world is holding all the strings. You are waiting for your next emotional paycheck to feel like you're enough. And let me be brutally clear, that paycheck will never cover your debts. It will never be enough. The hunger is infinite. That's the key. The hunger for external validation is a bottomless pit. You have a choice. You can keep starving, or you can learn to feed yourself. This is the core of the problem. You think it's about being liked. It's not. It's about discipline. The discipline of emotional independence. Emotional independence is not stoicism. It's not building a wall around yourself and feeling nothing. It's the opposite. It's generating your own weather from the inside. It's the power to receive a compliment without letting it define you, and to receive a criticism without letting it destroy you. Both are equally dangerous. The compliment can make you complacent. The criticism can make you crumble, or it can make you attack. Think about the last time someone criticized your work. What happened inside you? Did your stomach clench? Did your face get hot? Did you immediately start drafting a defense in your head? A counterattack? That reaction, that visceral crumbling or that aggressive lashing out, that is the sound of your foundation cracking. Because your foundation was built on their approval. You don't need their permission to be solid. You don't need their validation to be valuable. True power is the ability to take that criticism, hold it in your hands, and evaluate it calmly. Is there truth here? A data point I can use to improve? If yes, you take it, you thank them, and you integrate it, without the emotional collapse. If it's nonsense, you discard it, without the rage-filled rebuttal. You remain the calm, unmovable center of the storm. Their opinion is just weather passing through. It's not about your fragile ego. It's about your disciplined evaluation. That's the key. So how do you build this unshakable core? You stop looking for an external committee to approve your life, and you form your own. You build your inner board of directors. This is not a metaphor to be taken lightly. This is your new operating system. Your inner board of directors is a council of your own chosen values. These are not people. These are principles. You have a seat for integrity, a seat for courage, a seat for compassion, for discipline, for mastery. Whatever you decide is non-negotiable. From this day forward, the only approval you seek is from this internal board. Did I act with integrity today? Did I have the courage to speak my truth? Did I show discipline in my work? If the answer from your internal board is yes, then it does not matter who in the external world disagrees. Their vote is irrelevant. They don't have a seat at this table. You have a choice. You can let the chaotic, conflicting opinions of the outside world dictate your mood, or you can let the clear, consistent standards of your inner board guide your actions. The first is a life of chaos. The second is a life of character. You don't need their permission to live by your own code. Let's make this practical. The next time you feel that jolt of anxiety after you post something, or send an email, or state a boundary, I want you to pause. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to convene your board. Ask them, did I act in alignment with my values? Not, will they like it? Did I act with integrity? Was I courageous? Was I authentic? If your board, your values, give you the nod, then the work is done. The outcome is irrelevant. The validation has been issued, internally, by the only authority that matters. The most important validation is the one you give yourself. Say that out loud. The most important validation is the one you give yourself. The craving for external approval is a leak in your hull. It's letting the ocean of other people's opinions flood the ship of your soul. Every time you check for likes, you're opening the leak wider. Every time you alter your opinion to fit in, you're bailing water for them. Stop. Plug the leak. The ocean doesn't get a vote on whether your ship sails or sinks. That is your discipline. That is your responsibility. The silent cost of seeking validation is your life. It's the projects you never started because you were afraid they wouldn't be applauded. It's the truths you never spoke because you feared the backlash. It's the unique, beautiful, unconventional path you abandoned for the well-trodden, approved one. That is the real cost. Your potential, traded for a pat on the head. It ends when you decide that your own self-respect is the only currency you will trade in. It ends when you realize that the most important validation is the one you give yourself. You've shut down the external committee. You've built your inner board of directors. Now, it's time to master the art of conveying that unshakable confidence without saying a word. Let's talk about your paycheck. Not the one that hits your bank account. The other one. The emotional paycheck. The one you get when someone likes your post. When they compliment your idea. When they approve of your choice. When they validate you. You're addicted to that paycheck. And you've handed over your entire emotional well-being to a world that doesn't care about your balance. This is the silent cost. This is the tax you pay every time you outsource your self-worth. You have made yourself a beggar in the kingdom of your own life, holding out a cup and hoping someone, anyone, will drop a coin of approval into it. And I'm here to tell you, that ends now. This chapter is about reclaiming your emotional treasury. It's about realizing that the most important validation is the one you give yourself. We live in a feedback loop, a constant 24/7 auction of attention, and you've put your sense of self on the auction block. You post a picture and you wait. You offer an opinion and you brace. You make a decision, and your first instinct is to see who agrees with it. This is the external locus of control. You have handed the remote control for your emotional state to strangers, to colleagues, to critics, to algorithms, and you are permanently, hopelessly reactive. When the likes roll in, you're up. When the criticism comes, you're down. You are a puppet, and the world is holding all the strings. You're waiting for your next emotional paycheck to feel like you're enough. And let me be brutally clear, that paycheck will never cover your debts. It will never be enough. The hunger is infinite.
That's the key.
The hunger for external validation is a bottomless pit. You have a choice. You can keep starving, or you can learn to feed yourself. This is the core of the problem. You think it's about being liked. It's not. It's about discipline. The discipline of emotional independence. Emotional independence is not stoicism. It's not building a wall around yourself and feeling nothing. It's the opposite. It's generating your own weather from the inside. It's the power to receive a compliment without letting it define you, and to receive a criticism without letting it destroy you. Both are equally dangerous. The compliment can make you complacent. The criticism can make you crumble. Or it can make you attack. Think about the last time someone criticized your work. What happened inside you? Did your stomach clench? Did your face get hot? Did you immediately start drafting a defense in your head, a counterattack? That reaction, that visceral crumbling, or that aggressive lashing out, that is the sound of your foundation cracking. Because your foundation was built on their approval. You don't need their permission to be solid. You don't need their validation to be valuable. True power is the ability to take that criticism, hold it in your hands, and evaluate it calmly. Is there truth here? A data point I can use to improve? If yes, you take it, you thank them, and you integrate it without the emotional collapse. If it's nonsense, you discard it without the rage-filled rebuttal. You remain the calm, unmovable center of the storm. Their opinion is just weather passing through. It's not about your fragile ego. It's about your disciplined evaluation. That's the key. So how do you build this unshakable core? You stop looking for an external committee to approve your life and you form your own. You build your inner board of directors. This is not a metaphor to be taken lightly. This is your new operating system. Your inner board of directors is a council of your own chosen values. These are not people. These are principles. You have a seat for integrity, a seat for courage, a seat for compassion, for discipline, for mastery. Whatever you decide is non-negotiable. From this day forward, the only approval you seek is from this internal board. Did I act with integrity today? Did I have the courage to speak my truth? Did I show discipline in my work? If the answer from your internal board is yes, then it does not matter who in the external world disagrees. Their vote is irrelevant. They don't have a seat at this table. You have a choice. You can let the chaotic, conflicting opinions of the outside world dictate your mood, or you can let the clear, consistent standards of your inner board guide your actions. The first is a life of chaos. The second is a life of character. You don't need their permission to live by your own code. Let's make this practical. The next time you feel that jolt of anxiety after you post something, or send an email, or state a boundary, I want you to pause. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to convene your board. Ask them, did I act in alignment with my values? Not. Will they like it? Did I act with integrity? Was I courageous? Was I authentic? If your board, your values, give you the nod, then the work is done. The outcome is irrelevant. The validation has been issued internally by the only authority that matters. The most important validation is the one you give yourself. Say that out loud. The most important validation is the one you give yourself. The craving for external approval is a leak in your hull. It's letting the ocean of other people's opinions flood the ship of your soul. Every time you check for likes, you're opening the leak wider. Every time you alter your opinion to fit in, you're bailing water for them. Stop. Plug the leak. The ocean doesn't get a vote on whether your ship sails or sinks. That is your discipline. That is your responsibility. The silent cost of seeking validation is your life. It's the projects you never started because you were afraid they wouldn't be applauded. It's the truths you never spoke because you feared the backlash. It's the unique, beautiful, unconventional path you abandoned for the well-trodden, approved one. That is the real cost. Your potential, traded for a pat on the head. It ends when you decide that your own self-respect is the only currency you will trade in. It ends when you realize that the most important validation is the one you give yourself. You've shut down the external committee. You've built your inner board of directors. Now, it's time to master the art of conveying that unshakable confidence without saying a word. You don't wait for the storm to hit to start building the ark. You don't wait for the battle to begin to learn how to fire a weapon. And you absolutely cannot wait for the emotional crisis, the insult, the rejection, the sudden shock, to try and figure out how to be resilient. It will be too late. Your ancient brain, the amygdala, will have already hijacked the system. The chemicals of panic and rage will already be flooding your veins. You will be operating on pure, undiluted instinct. An instinct left untrained is weak. It's fragile. That ends now. This chapter is about moving from reactive to proactive. It's about forging day by day what I call your emotional immune system. You don't get a strong physical body by lying on the couch. You get it by stressing the system, lifting weights, running, pushing your limits. Your emotional resilience is built the exact same way. You have a choice. You can be a fragile vase, shattered by the first strong wind, or you can become an oak tree, strengthened by it. Let's talk about how you become the oak. Part 1. Proactive conditioning. The daily grind of resilience. Listen closely. Resilience is not a quality you are born with. It is a skill you build. It is a discipline. And like any discipline, it requires daily, non-negotiable practice. You cannot wait for the crisis. You build the calluses before you need to grip the rope. This is the core of the entire system. You have a choice every single morning. Do you pamper your weakness, or do you proactively condition your strength? I'm talking about 3 fundamental practices. You don't have to like them. You just have to do them. First, cold exposure. A 60-second cold shower at the end of your morning routine. It's not about comfort. It's about discipline. It's about looking at that shower knob, knowing the discomfort that's coming, and turning it anyway. In that moment, you are teaching your nervous system a fundamental lesson. I am in command. Discomfort is a signal to engage, not to retreat. You are building a physiological buffer against life's sudden chills. Second, mindfulness. And before you dismiss this, understand what I mean. I'm not talking about chanting in a cave. I'm talking about 5 minutes of sitting in silence, focusing only on your breath. Your mind will race. It will try to pull you into yesterday's regrets and tomorrow's anxieties. Your job is to gently, firmly bring it back to the breath. This is the repetition. This is the practice of not being jerked around by every random thought. You are building the muscle of focus, the anchor in the present moment. Third, controlled discomfort. This is anything you don't want to do but know you should. Having a difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Deleting the social media apps for a day. Working out when you're tired. This is the practical application. It's not about motivation. It's about discipline. You are inoculating yourself against the larger discomforts to come. Part 2. Identify your triggers in advance. Know your enemy. You know what makes a soldier effective in a firefight. Drills. Endless, repetitive, boring drills. So when the chaos hits, they don't have to think. Their body knows what to do. Your emotional triggers are your enemy, and you must know them better than you know yourself, because in a way, they are a part of you, a weak, predictable part. I want you to stop listening right now and do this. I'm serious. Pause this, get a pen and paper, and write this down. Your top 5 predictable emotional triggers. What are the things that, without fail, send you into a spiral? Be brutally honest. No one else will see this. Is it being interrupted when you're speaking? Is it feeling ignored or unappreciated? Is it facing what you perceive as blatant unfairness? Is it someone questioning your competence? Is it financial pressure? A critical email? Write them down. Now, for each one, you are going to pre-script your 60-second response. This is not a suggestion. This is your drill. You don't need their permission to lose your cool. You are taking that power back. Let's take trigger number 1, being interrupted. Your old weak script was heat flashes to your face. You raise your voice. You talk over them. You get defensive. The result? You look emotional and out of control. You lose. Your new pre-scripted 60-second protocol, second 010, the shock. You feel the surge of anger. Acknowledge it internally. There it is. Trigger 1. I am being interrupted, second 10:30, the pause. You stop talking. You take one deep, silent breath. You make deliberate, non-aggressive eye contact. You are letting their interruption hang in the air. This silence is your power, second 30:50, the response. You speak calmly and firmly. Your pre-scripted line, I'd like to finish my point. Or, I hear you, and I'll get to that right after I complete this thought. Second 50:60, the reset. You finish your point. You have reclaimed your space without firing a single emotional bullet. You do this for every single trigger on your list. You are a strategist, not a casualty. That's the key. You are taking the chaos of human interaction and imposing order upon it. Part 3. The compound effect of small wins. This is where it all comes together. Every single time you successfully execute your 60-second protocol, you are not just winning that battle. You are funding your resilience account. You are making a deposit. Think of your brain as a path through a forest. Every time you get triggered and react with rage or panic, you are deepening that old, muddy, dysfunctional path. It becomes the easiest route for your mind to take. But every time you feel the trigger and you choose the new response, the breath, the pause, the calm statement, you are carving a new path. At first it's faint, overgrown. It takes effort. But with every single repetition you clear it more. You make it wider, smoother, until one day it becomes the default path. The path of mastery. This isn't a theory. This is neuroscience. You are strengthening the neural pathways for calmness, for control, for command. You are literally rewiring your own brain. That missed interruption? A small win. That unfair criticism you absorbed without crumbling? A small win. That cold shower you took this morning? A massive win. These stack up. They compound. One day you will look at a situation that would have destroyed the old you, and you will feel nothing but calm focus. You will have become immune to that particular poison. Let me be perfectly clear. Emotional mastery is not a single event. It is the residue of daily practice. It is the residue of daily practice. It is the sum total of every cold shower, every mindful breath, every pre-scripted response you ever executed. It is the compound interest of discipline. You have built the system. You have identified the enemy. Now, you must put it all into practice. Every single day. You are no longer a victim of your emotions. You are the architect of your response. You have forged your immune system. Now, let's talk about the one force that can undermine it all. The stories you tell yourself. Let's be clear about what we're doing here. You are not here to become a slightly better version of your reactive self. You are not here to learn a new trick to keep your temper in check. That's small thinking. That's managing a problem. And you are done with that. This chapter is about a total identity shift. It's about who you become when you stop fighting your emotions and start commanding them. When you stop being a firefighter, rushing to put out the blazes your own reactions start, and you become the architect of a calm, impenetrable fortress. You are not managing a problem. You are embodying a solution. The solution is command, not control, command. It's the difference between holding a wild animal on a fraying leash and being the trainer in the center of the ring. The animal has the same power, but the context is entirely different. Your fear, your anger, your frustration, they are not your enemies to be chained. They are energies to be directed. They are signals to be interpreted. They are tools in your hand. You have a choice. You can see yourself as someone who struggles with anger, or you can see yourself as a person who commands their emotional state. That's the key. The identity comes first. The behavior follows. So repeat this after me right now out loud. I am not managing a problem. I am embodying a solution. Good. Now let's build that new identity from the ground up. The first and most profound change is in your presence. When you are no longer hostage to your internal weather, you show up differently. You are no longer a car alarm screaming at every bump in the night. You are a deep-rooted oak tree in a storm. You feel the wind, but you do not break. This presence is power. Real, tangible, charismatic power. Think about the last time you were in a tense meeting. Someone was reactive, frantic, their voice high-pitched. What did you feel? Distrust, anxiety. You couldn't wait for them to stop talking. Now think of someone who was calm, who listened completely before they spoke, who didn't feel the need to fill the silence with nervous chatter. Their words had weight, didn't they? You leaned in. You trusted them. That can be you. That will be you. When you are fully responsive, you listen better. You're not just waiting for your turn to talk or formulating your defense. You are actually processing, understanding, and absorbing. And when you do speak, your words are chosen, not charged. They carry authority because they come from a place of choice, not a place of chaos. This calm you exude? It's a magnet. It attracts trust. It attracts opportunity. People are drawn to stability in an unstable world. They will hand you responsibility because they know you won't crumble under its weight. You don't need their permission to be this person. You simply choose it. This isn't just about you, isolated in your own little Zen garden. This is about your ripple effect. Your emotional command doesn't just change your inner world. It changes the ecosystem around you. You become a leader, not by title, but by nature. Let's talk about a crisis. At work, a project is imploding. Deadlines are missed, fingers are pointing, and the panic is contagious. It's a room full of nervous systems screaming in unison. Then there's you. You take a breath, that tactical pause we mastered. You feel the surge of, oh shit, and you let it pass through you. You don't block it. You don't become it. You observe it, and you choose your response. You say, okay, here's what we know. Here's the first thing we're going to do. Your voice is level. Your posture is open. What happens? The nervous systems in the room start to sync with yours. Your calm is a contagion, a positive one. You are not adding fuel to the fire. You are lowering the temperature. You are leading others from your center. You are giving them permission to stop panicking and start thinking. You become the source of clarity in the fog. Now take that home. Your kid is having a meltdown. Your partner is stressed and snapping. The old you would have matched that energy. A screaming match. A tense, silent dinner. But the new you embody the solution. You see their reactivity for what it is. A loss of emotional command. You don't need to fix their feeling. You need to hold the space. You kneel down. You make eye contact. You speak softly. You don't try to solve the problem of the broken toy right that second. You solve the problem of the dysregulated human. By holding your center, you create a harbor for them to dock their emotional storm. You calm their nervous system by demonstrating that yours is unshakable. This is the highest form of strength. It's not the strength to dominate others. It's the strength to command yourself so utterly that you become a pillar for others. You are not managing a problem. You are embodying a solution for your entire team, your entire family. This is the final piece of the puzzle. All the techniques, the pause, the reframe, the detachment, they were the training. This right here is the championship. This is where it all clicks. The internal work manifests as external power. The discipline becomes your identity. You stop saying, I'm trying to be less reactive. You start saying, I am a responsive person. You stop saying, I have a bad temper. You start saying, I command my emotional state. That's the key. The story you tell yourself is everything. You are the author, so write a better one. Write a story of command. Write a story of presence. Write a story where you are the calm in the storm, not just for yourself, but for everyone lucky enough to be in your orbit. You have mastered your internal state. You have become a force of calm, a source of strength. Now let's talk about the final discipline, The one that governs your most powerful tool. Your words. You've done the work. You've felt the shift. That space between trigger and response is no longer a theoretical idea. It's a real place you can visit. A place of power. But let's be brutally honest. Right now it takes effort. Conscious thought. You're still building the muscle. And if we leave it here as just a good idea, life will happen. The storm of distractions, the constant noise, the endless to-do list, it will wear you down. You'll get tired. You'll get lazy. You'll fall back into the old, easy, automatic reactions. We can't let that happen. This isn't about having a moment of clarity. This is about building a new operating system, a new default setting. We need to make the 60-second check-in so ingrained, so automatic, that it becomes harder not to do it. We need to wire it into your nervous system. That's the key, making it automatic. You have a choice. Either you consciously build this system, or you unconsciously surrender to the chaos. The goal is to make response your new reaction. So, how do we do that? We stop treating this like a special meditation practice and start treating it like brushing your teeth. It's not something you do when you feel like it. It's something you do because it's what functional, disciplined adults do to take care of themselves. It's non-negotiable hygiene. Mental hygiene. The most powerful way to install a new habit is to piggyback it onto an old one. This is called habit stacking. You don't need to find extra time. You just need to hijack the routines you already have. You don't need to clear your schedule or get permission from your family. You don't need their permission. This is on you. Think about your existing anchors. The things you do every single day without fail. The moment you finish brushing your teeth in the morning, that's 60 seconds. Instead of immediately rushing to your phone, you stand there, look in the mirror, and check in. Okay, what's the state of the union? What's one thing I need to own today? What potential trigger am I walking into? 60 seconds. That's it, or before your first coffee. You're standing there waiting for the machine to brew. That's your 60-second window. Instead of staring blankly, you get intentional. You take that space. You ground yourself before the caffeine even hits your system. You set the tone for the day on your terms when you sit in the car before you turn the key. That's a perfect contained environment. 60 seconds, a quick breath. A conscious decision about the energy you're bringing to your commute, to your workplace, to your home. You see the pattern? We're not adding, we're layering. We're attaching discipline to autopilot. You have a choice. You can let your old habits run the show, or you can commandeer them for your own upgrade. That's the key. You attach the new, powerful behavior to an existing, unthinking routine. After a week, you won't be able to brush your teeth without the 60-second check-in kicking in. It becomes automatic. That's the goal, but we're not done. Installation is one thing. Maintenance is another. You need a feedback loop. You need to look at the data of your life without the filter of your ego. That's where the weekly audit comes in. One time per week, Sunday evening works perfectly. You give yourself 10 minutes. No more. You get a notebook and you do a quick, clean review. This is not a therapy session. This is a performance review for your own life. You look back at the week and you ask 3 questions and you write down the answers. 1. Where did I successfully create space and choose my response this week? Celebrate that win. Write it down. Tuesday, when the project deadline moved up, I felt the panic. I took the 60 seconds and I focused on the first action instead of complaining. Acknowledge the victory. This reinforces the neural pathway. 2. Where did I get hijacked? Where did I react without thinking? Be specific, but be clinical. On Thursday, my spouse made a comment and I snapped back immediately. Trigger: feeling disrespected. Reaction: defensiveness. And this is the most important part of the audit. You review, don't rue. You analyze the loss, but you do not wallow in it. You don't beat yourself up. You look at it like a scientist. Fascinating. The disrespect trigger is still active. I need to be more aware of that one. Review, don't rue. You learn from the data and you let the emotional guilt go. It's useless weight. You don't need your own permission to let go of shame. Just review the facts. That's the key. This weekly ritual transforms this practice from a series of random acts into a strategic, lifelong campaign. It turns your life into a classroom where every trigger, every reaction, every chosen response is a lesson. And this is where it all comes together. This isn't just about your mood. This isn't just about having a better Tuesday. Every single time you choose response over reaction, you're doing something monumental. You are not just solving a moment, you are building a legacy. Think about it. When you pause before yelling at your child, you are not just avoiding a fight. You are modeling emotional regulation. You are teaching them, through your actions, that they have a choice. You are building a legacy of peace in your home. When you respond calmly to a crisis at work, you are not just fixing a problem. You are demonstrating leadership under pressure. You are earning trust. You are building a legacy of competence and reliability. When you choose not to be offended, not to take the bait, not to descend into pettiness, you are forging a reputation for wisdom and strength. You are building a legacy of character. Your life is not defined by what happens to you. It is defined by your legacy of response. The sum total of all those 60-second decisions. That is your character. That is your influence. That is your mark on the world. Every time you create that space, you are actively sculpting that legacy. You are choosing the person you will become and the impact you will leave behind. You have mastered the moment. You have built the system. Now go build the legacy that comes from a life of chosen responses. You've built your internal fortress. Let's be clear. This is not just another concept. This is a weapon you forge in the quiet moments so you can wield it in the chaotic ones. The 60-second protocol, the breath, the name, the rewrite, is your circuit breaker. It is the line between the old you, the reactive you, the puppet, and the new you, the responsive you, the commander. Stop letting your history dictate your future. Stop letting your impulses sabotage your intentions. The gap is there. The power is there. The choice is yours. You have the protocol. The world will continue to send triggers, the difficult people, the unexpected problems, the personal doubts. They are not stopping. So the question is, will you remain reactive? Or will you, from this moment forward, choose to be responsive? The book is over. The work begins now. Your first 60 seconds starts now. Your move.